Right, well, welcome. This is a similar video to the interview with respect to Kathleen Kennedy with Gizmodo. But this is, it's the tide turning on Disney and Lucasfilm and Star Wars. And very specifically, the cast and crew throwing massive shade at The Last Jedi. And it's not just, we're not inflating this or anything like that. It genuinely is. So it's two sides to the kind of coin here. Like I said, you've got the media. I mean, this title alone. Will Star Wars stick the landing? JJ Abrams will try. A creative shakeup, last-minute rewrites, and a director not known for great endings. JJ Abrams and company get real about the making of The Rise of Skywalker. I mean, that's insane. That is genuinely insane. This is from the New York Times. Again, have to repeat this. It is undeniable now that the media that once bowed at the altar of Disney and undoubtedly were being a little bit soft are now going in hard because they realise that you just can't argue with it. And even the cast and crew. Again, cast and crew that have previously defended The Last Jedi are now just going in and saying, yep, didn't particularly like it, wasn't particularly great, there was frustration, there was this, there was that. So again, it's not inflating it. It's really not inflating it, guys. We'll get down to it, obviously. Now, this is from Dave Itzkoff. Okay, and it's an interview with everyone, or at least everyone has kind of chimed in here. And again, the opening argument, JJ Abrams knows what audiences think of him. I've never been great at endings, the filmmaker said, just hours after delivering a finished version of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. With some hesitation, Abrams added, I don't actually think I'm good at anything, but I know how to begin a story. Ending a story is tough. That doesn't fill anyone with confidence, does it? It really, really doesn't. Now, it says this is an unusual admission for Abrams, having just directed and co-written the Star Wars film that, when it opens December 20th, promises to be the final installment in a 9-movie narrative about the Skywalker clan. Moviegoers have seen the current curtain come down on the saga twice already, with Return of the Jedi in 1983, which concluded with Luke Skywalker and his allies seemingly triumphant over the treacherous Empire, and again in 2005 with Revenge of the Sith, which tracked the final steps of Luke's father, Anakin, on his dark path to becoming the malevolent Darth Vader. But what seemed like closed history was reopened once more in 2015 when The Force Awakens began a third trilogy in which the old guard of the original Star Wars movies fought alongside a new generation. True to his boast, Abrams, who after some trepidation directed and helped write the screenplay for that film, inaugurated this trilogy with considerable fanfare as The Force Awakens went on to gross $2 billion. And he even says it was the last and only Star Wars film he intended to make. But again, it's this kind of opening here where we can really see that like, media has turned on it. And we continue, like, as we go down, right? So when Abrams was once again approached amid a last-minute creative shake-up about taking on The Rise of Skywalker, he balked. To be considered a success, the new movie must satisfy a seemingly impossible array of demands. It has to wrap up the current trilogy while tying together the many themes and plot lines of its 8 predecessors, while, oh yes, working as a complete story on its own. For those same intimidated reasons, Abrams accepted the assignment. Sticking this landing is one of the harder jobs that I could have taken, he said, but that was why I felt worthy of saying yes. Interesting. Like the stories told within the films themselves, the story of this Star Wars film, which its creators and stars described in a series of interviews, is one in which inadvertent decisions led to unintended consequences. It is a tale in which history repeats itself and destiny can be outrun for only so long before it must be confronted. Yet even as Abrams and his colleagues bid farewell to this part of Star Wars history, they are as curious as anyone to know what comes next for the series. Blah, 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 blah. Now again, it's his comments specifically about The Last Jedi, which I find interesting. And again, comments like this, look, even before handing the reins of his company to Kathleen Kennedy, its current president, and the architect of the franchise's future. Lucas was having conversations with the original Han Solo, blah, blah, blah. So that all, again, we've known this a long time. It just confirms that it was only because of George Lucas's involvement there as to why those people were coming back in the first place. Now, here we go. So, but when Kennedy formally approached Abrams, his instinct was to decline. He explained, it was too close to something that I cared too much about. I didn't want to leave not liking it anymore, falling flat on my face and failing miserably. My reaction was a reflexive one. I just thought it was too daunting. This was with respect to The Force Awakens. I knew when the two of us sat down face to face that I had him. This was to do with Kathleen Kennedy. What a fucking pretentious, absolutely pretentious douche. Again, to do with Rey and Daisy Ridley and things like this, and just getting people on board. But again, as we scroll down, as we get into it, you know, Attack of the Sequels, amid the frantic casting, writing, and construction needed to get The Force Awakens underway, Kennedy went to Abrams with a further proposition. In addition to Episode 7, would he like to tackle Episodes 8 and 9 as well? Abrams' response was succinct. I was like, are you crazy? He recalled. Kennedy acknowledged that Abrams had enough on his plate. It was pretty obvious. It was so overwhelming. Now, instead, Episode 8, titled The Last Jedi, was written and directed by Rian Johnson. In its story, the Force Awakens heroes were separated from one another, blah, blah, blah. And again, this is important stuff. The characters were very frustrated, and it felt that way. You felt the difficult energy of those scenes figuring that stuff out. That's not praise. That's not good stuff. Abrams praised The Last Jedi for being full of surprises and subversion and all sorts of bold choices. On the other hand, he added, it's a bit of a meta approach to the story. I don't think that people go to stories to be told this doesn't matter. I mean, that's shade. That really is. It's basically saying, well, you know, I got to give a jab at it here and there somewhere, haven't I? Really. Even so, Abrams said, The Last Jedi laid the groundwork for the rise of Skywalker. We know it didn't. Shut up. And a story that I think needed a pendulum swing in one direction in order to swing in the other. Definitely not. And again, you know, it's just those kind of comments, right? Like here, for instance, this is kind of like more of a quick excerpt from the whole thing. The Last Jedi, released in 2017, was also a success, but each time it addressed one of several cliffhangers left dangling from The Force Awakens. What would happen when Rey returned Luke Skywalker's lightsaber to him? Who were her parents? Who was nefarious Supreme Leader Snoke? Johnson's movie seemed to say the answers to these questions aren't important as you think. That's the media's spin on it. Like, Jesus. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And again, you know, we got the likes of Daisy Ridley actually goes so far as to say that she cried and breathed sighs of relief when she heard that JJ Abrams was back. But when it was announced that Abrams was indeed returning, his actors breathed sighs of relief. I cried, Ridley said, explaining that the director brought a comforting sense of structure and security. Boyega said he was glad that Abrams would get to finish the tale he'd begun in episode 7. Even as a normal person in the audience, I wanted to see where that story was going. They've kind of removed the boldness to it, but it was genuinely stated as that story. Oh dear. You know, when you cast, you know, when your main cast can't even get things back on now, like that's when you know you got some problems. Seriously, it's insane. And like I say, it really does ring true with respect to, you know, the whole fact that even the media now, it's just this opening alone. You know, the opening alone. A creative shake-up, last-minute rewrites. It's not exactly selling it, is it? This is a movie that drops in less than 10 days. And you're not selling it by any stretch of the imagination. This is not confidence inspiring. And this is what Disney would want. So we are definitely seeing, you know, numerous major outlets being a little bit more honest now, which I like. I think it's good. And I also think we're seeing directors and actors and professionals being a little bit more honest now as well. So what did you guys think of these kind of comments? Do you think that this is preemptively setting up? Because again, remember, a creative shake-up, last-minute rewrites, and a director not known for great endings. And this is something which JJ Abrams has admitted himself in this interview, knowing full well that this would get out there further. Do you think this is them setting themselves up for the potential of, well, look, I did say I'm not good at endings. I did say I'm not good at endings. Do you think that's them setting that up or not? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please do let me know down below in the comment section. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. You can stay up to date on the world of pop culture, movie news, and some sort of deep dives on the industry such as this by hitting the bell notification icon. For your Xenomorph inspired Christmas sweater, please do check out the Teespring store underneath every single video. You can check it out there, or it is actually linked in the description box. Also, consider becoming a patron. Really does help me out. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching. With Mr. H, take care.